I'm Bill Skinner, and I chose this project. I like getting out of water and love boats since the lines of them and thing, and I love building. So anyway, I looked online for a while, and I came across. I looked at her design. I was shying away from doing fiberglass and all the epoxy and everything, and so anyway, I came across this. And it's actually bought a course from Cape Falcon Kayaks. And the guy really put together an next course. I can't say enough about it. He posts a lot. If you just go to YouTube, if you're interested, and there's a lot of free content online. And he's been doing this building skin on frame boats for over 30 years. And I looked at different designs, and I felt like this is really probably the best one, and he provided a lot of information for me. So then I went ahead, and the course was, I think when I bought it was $100. I believe it's like $150 right now. But it's worth it. Just because his girlfriend is a professional videographer, and videos are just really very professionally done. And he takes you through every step along, and it's very helpful, because I got in things that I had, the wood part I wasn't so worried about, but then get into the other stuff, and I did steam bend. Matter of fact, I just pass that around. I was just playing the other day, and I just steam bent a piece of white oak.
You turned yourself off with that.
And then this is, everybody wants to know about fab. It's nice nylon fabric that goes on this. That's what that is. So anyway, I want to just kind of step you through. I've just got some pictures here. Okay. So the first of all, he's from Seattle, and he recommends using Western red cedar. Well, I went out and tried to buy Western red cedar. And first of all, I couldn't even get clear Western red cedar. I bought like three birds 14 feet long and 6 inches wide, and they were $70 a piece. And it's like, I don't know whether this is practical or not. So, and then when I got home and tried to figure whether I could glue up with what I got, it just wasn't going to work. So I started looking for lumber and everything, and I went to Reisterstown Lumber. And if anybody needs common lumber that's a better quality, I really recommend going up there. But I got yellow pine, clear yellow pine, and it was $14 for it. And I said, I can play with this, because I don't know whether this is or not. So anyway, this is first glue up. So you glue up the gunnel, and I glued up, it was like 4.5 inches wide, rip to, and then 3 layers. And then it's all glued with Gorilla Glue, because you need a waterproof glue. And I just made a base to go under it to make sure I had a reference to go against it, so that I knew I was flat and everything, and I knew that my you space it up on either end and bend it down and make sure curves are right. So you can see I invested some money in some clamps at Home Depot. But he tells you need like 50 spring clamps to do this. So, and you do. So anyway, that gets glued up. And after that, you trim it up. And then I split that. That was wide enough to do 2 set gunnels. Okay. And so you rip it into separate pieces to make the gunnels. So it's bent in this orientation to start. Oops. Okay. There it is, flipped over, and I just had spacers in there to keep it spaced apart. And the other thing, before I did that, I cut the mortises and I cut them with a route. So you mark everything out, and then you have them clamped together so it gives you wider base, and then you go around the plunge router and mortise the cut the mortise into it. After that, then you put the spreaders in it and spread out. And so, you figure out the course. It doesn't give you a specific plan. It's more how do you design and what kind of boat do you want? How much rocker you want in it? How wide do you want the boat? How heavy is the person going to be paddling it? So all these are facts that, need to go into designing a boat. He's got some plans that are some dimension that he recommends, but you can from this go and do anything you want. So anyway, you'll notice everything is all lashed together. It's all lashed together with it's artificial sinew, which is waxed polyester thread. And the reason why is you actually want, if you start putting, especially in smaller torque joints, if you started putting mechanical fasteners in there, you would actually weaken it because the wood's not all that thick. So anyway. Okay, I was unsure. I wanted to make sure everything lined up straight and everything, and so I had my board underneath that I level, and I know my garage floor isn't particularly level, so it gave me something that I could reference against, and you can see here I had a laser and I ran it down the boat to try to make sure that everything lined up properly. And then I could measure off of the base, make sure that my bow was supposed to be 1.5 inches higher than my stern. So I could make sure elevation wise I was correct. And so that's that. At point you move on and you start, okay, you put a stem and the keel on. And try and get all your spacing and mark your stems. Okay, I didn't. He had stems that he just used one piece, and I wasn't comfortable that was strong enough, so I went ahead and cut a spline in there and reinforced it in the other direction. That's just a pair of stems before I mounted them. Okay, and so the stems are mounted at this point. I've got the keel screwed down temporarily, and at this point, starting to do the seam bending. So you don't a lot of boats you build them on a mold. You don't with his design or the one he's building them. He isn't using a mold at all. You just believe it or not, you just kind of bend everything by eye. And your eye pretty good at determining symmetry, and he tells you how to design or how to long to make all the ribs, which is important because they've got to be the right length to be able to be the right circumference going around to do the bends. So you have them all laid out and numbered and cut the length, and then you put them in a seam box and steam them and just bend them by and start putting them in different positions. So after that, you got your stringers all cut before you even start bending, and after you steam bend and cools down some down to room temperature, you still have flexibility to the wood, and so you put the stringers on, then it kind of averages everything out because it's running across. So if you got a high spot or a spot, it's going to average it out. So I have it, ran out of clamps using tires to tie it all together to try and pull it down tight, and get it all straight and try and make sure it's symmetrical. And then the next step is to do the lashing. And the lashing, once again, is polyester thread, the artificial sinew. And what you do is you do what's called a running lashing. And the reason why what you do is start it at one end and you lash, and you don't want to tie that off because tie it off, it might possibly loosen up a little bit, and you'd have to restart on the next one. So you do, if you look, there's thread that runs and jumps between each one of them. So you actually start with one piece sinew, and you go all the way down the boat, and you lash one, and you pull it tight, and then you move down and lash the next one and pull tight. So you're just it's a chain going way down from the full length of the boat. So here I am, I'm putting the keel on finally, and I've got it all lined up with laser again to make sure I've got everything straight. And there's the frame after it's all put together. He says you can build a boat in 40 hours. I can't build a boat in 40 hours. The other thing is, for me, I kind of bought materials kind of as I was going along. So that it probably took me probably about 2 weeks. But I mean, once you start the process of bending, I mean, you need to keep going with the whole thing. It's like you're not stopping now because the still has some flexibility to it. And so you want to take advantage of that so that everything works together. Table saw? Yeah.
Have a long space, engine, a long
Yep. Yeah.
Run the planer.
Yeah, I ran them all through the plane afterwards to get everything uniform size.
Did you have to heat that before you the wrapping?
No.
So it's just room temperature.
Yeah, it's temperature.
So I was thinking the same way they like snowshoes where you have to heat it up and when it dries it all together.
No, I mean it's polyester.
Polyester. Okay.
Yeah. Right. And there's the frame oiled. He recommends using Watco. I did not. I actually used just 50% tung oil and 50% citrus oil. And if you're buying tung oil, the least expensive place to buy tung oil is a place called skin.org. They're out of Washington, and they're significantly less expensive than tung oil. And the lemon or orange oil, both food safe. So it's actually a food safe finish. So for anything, sure block, cutting boards, anything like that. So I actually did. This is the smaller of the two. This is for my wife. And I did them both at the same time because as I went, the oak that I got, I bought it green because it's easier to steam than green wood, but it's already got the moisture in it. And since I had green to start with, I went ahead and just did the second frame. Plus, I knew what I was doing after doing the first one. That's white oak. Yeah, you get I got a guy in Pennsylvania, and he was will saw wood because I needed sawn white oak. Okay, and then you actually rip the pieces quarter inch thick, so they're actually flats on what you're working with, because that bends.
It has to be air dry.
No, it was green.
Oh, it has to be green.
Well, yeah, okay, that little knot that I passed around, that was dry. It was air dried lumber, but it was dry. And I know it did not, I did most knots before and it got lost. And when I did it, I was able, the first time I did it was green, I could make a tighter knot. So, but yeah, I this was all done. So you do all milling while it's green. Yeah.
Doing the lashing, so it didn't off each intersection of the stringers. Happened if you got a break on the line.
Well, actually, once you see, this is sealed with a polyurethane. We'll talk about that, but when it's sealed with a polyurethane, and it penetrates in it, it like glues it to it. Okay. So these are supposed to nest. One was 13.8 and the other one was 13. So they didn't really nest as well as they should have, but I wasn't that concerned about it. But I had. And there it is with the skin on. So the whole process of putting the skin on, there are different kinds of skins you can use. You can use nylon, or you can use polyester skin. And polyester shrinks if you heat it, and nylon actually it expands, it gets bigger if it's wet, and then shrinks as it's dry. Okay, and he recommended using the nylon. I went ahead with nylon. So what you should do is you have the boat flipped over, and you kind of figure out where the center of the fabric is, and you drape it on the boat with the center of the fabric on the keel. And then what you do is you pin it into keel with a couple push pins to just kind of keep it stationary, and you pull it forward, and you get tight, and it starts to break, where it's not going to make the curve, and you mark it there, and then you take and mark the fabric, and you cut it. And when you cut this stuff, you've got to cut it with a hot knife, because if you just take a pair of scissors and cut it, it will fray. So you use a hot knife to cut it with. So that was one specialty tool I had to buy. So anyway, you cut on the profile, and then you stitch it up. Okay, then what you do is you pull it down taut to the other end, and you mark where that is, and then you come back, and 2 inches from there, you flip the back off and go back to the stern, and then pull the whole skin down 2 inches too short, and then stitch the other end. And then once you get both ends stitched, then you lay down on the floor, and pull it tight. You stretch the nylon over the stern.
Don't use any kind of clamp on the fabric, or a ratchet clamp with full plate.
No, we'll get there. Okay, so you pin it down the keel. After you've got the fabric stretched on there, you pin it on the keel, and then I get outside and in the driveway, and I wet it down with the hose, and let it soak into the nylon, and let it stretch as much as it's a stretch. Okay, then what you do, I brought it back in the garage, and pull it down as taut as you can, and you staple it to the gun. Then once you get one side staple, you go over the other side and you pull it as tight as you can. You just kind of roll the fabric up and you can pull it down really tight. Okay, and you staple that. So he does it with one person, not how you do it with one person. It takes two people to do. So anyway, you've got to have your rub rail all ready to go. They've got to be all prepped. I'll cut the length, the holes drilled. They have to be finished. You've got to immediately, the whole time working this, you've got to get wet so it does shrink up. If you let it dry out, it would actually pull the staples right out. So then when you cap this all with the rub rails, and then that keeps the staple from being able to pull. And then once that's all done, you let it dry, then you take a hot knife and go down there and cut all the excess fat off. And then after that, it's a coating process, and you use this two-part polyurethane, which it's a low VC polyurethane, and it's actually they use it for if you go in a commercial cooking garage, they use it to coat the floors. That's what that surface is that you're walking on all the time. They seal the concrete with it. It's the same kind of material. And you have to put it on. That's another learning curve. You have to put it on wet on wet. So you roll on a layer, and you got to be careful and not roll it much. You have to get it to penetrate into the fabric, but you don't want to roll it too much, because if you do, you're rolling air bubbles into it. And the other thing so you've got to keep, it's kind of oozing down the boat itself, hull, and you kind of work it back up, or you can take a flat, it's like a blade, whatever, and go across like a squeegee and kind of put it to get back up and wait about an hour. It's not dry, and you go on with another coat, and you do like 4 coats. You can just keep going, but you've got to put, once it dries, you can't back and recoat. So it's a polyurethane. Yeah, I got that from Skin Boat.
Only do just the outside, not the inside.
Correct.
Why is polyurethane epoxy?
It's flexible. Okay. They only use house paint, some boats, especially with the polyester fabric. So it's just anything to seal it up. So there I am in water. So it's kind of cool because it's translucent, and you can see the water line right. So I don't know, you can tell the dark area. That's the water line up there. Their feet. But that's actually the water line. You see the ripples in the water and everything right through the boat. And there's a sail for it too. So 1 square meter sail. I'm bringing it in today because I didn't want to block the screen. Just knowing what hardware where to buy, what works, and that in itself paid for the course, because it was all new, and there's so much there, and especially when you get into boat stuff, everything called 4 times execution, like this. Just knowing, okay, you go to the suppliers of sail material. Well, there's hundreds of different sail materials. So just even knowing what do I buy to start with. So there. My standard took out of me. I was up on Pond Lake. And that's my shop. That's my storage. Yeah, bought an $80 lift and a winch and electric winch. So I had one of the ones they sell for like kayaks and canoes before that was just please. And I dropped a boat with it. I said, yeah, I think a winch is a better way to go. Yeah.
So how well did you do on sealing it for butter? Did you do well?
Yeah. Yeah. And so when I tell it, I pay it's a thermarest, ridge rest pad in the bottom. It's just a sleeping pad. And then I'll like about a and a half or 2-inch foam pad to sit on just to get your butt up just a little bit higher. And just use a kayak paddle. It really truly like an open kayak. And he's been building kayaks for years. He has kayak design lines.
Build your paddles too.
I did not. I did not. So that's any other question? Yeah.
So when you use the sail, you've got to have some sort of a feel or time, right?
It'll sail downwind. You can't, you know, it's crosswind a little bit. You can't tack with it, but so it's kind of like riding. You know, it's like you got to paddle all the way upwind to sail downwind. Yeah.
That's fabulous.
Oh, that's that. The other thing, you know, taking a boat out yourself, you need something you can handle yourself. The boat weighs about 20 pounds. Okay. And I mean, to get that weight class, you've got to get into a Kevlar boat and they're $2,500, $3,000. Yeah, and more. So that.
Very, very.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Yeah. From what? I mean, if you don't, you put in the water, you drag it, and it's pretty durable. I mean, if you hit on a sharp object or something, you'll punch a hole. I mean, it's a white water. It's not. You're going to take this and
Flat water.
So,
Any other questions?
any questions?
Awesome. Thank you.
All right.